All right, so it is Saturday, January 28th. I've got a lot of updates with the Quail. First of all, I completely scrapped our old enclosure and built this by hand, kind of as a V3 design, in order to reduce mess and not be as much of an eyesore. So I'll run through what this is all about. So you can see the front here, I just screwed on some plywood. The top are two 4-foot by 2-foot doors with hinges connected to the frame. You can just open these up and just reach down. In here, it's 2 feet tall inside this new enclosure. And it's about like maybe 20 square foot in here. I've got my 8 adult quail in here, but I have plans to basically double the population. There's still some fighting. There's a little bit of fighting going on, unfortunately, because I just integrated these 2 flocks that were on different levels of the original coop. It hasn't really been that bad. I think it's just establishing a pecking order. I haven't seen any injuries or anything like that. But yeah, I put just shavings down, and I can stack the shavings up, even a couple, like a foot high, and both of these doors open. So this one opens too. Yeah, and this just reduces the mess since I've got clear vinyl tablecloth as my kind of way to see in without the dust getting out, and then I've got ventilation on the sides, over on that side too, ventilation here, and then I've got these lights that turn off at 10 p.m. So that's kind of the update for the adult quail. I've got 8 in here, maybe about 20 square foot. They're currently still trying to establish their pecking order. No one's getting hurt. They're just being dumb. It takes a few days after integrating quail before they stop bullying each other. So yeah, I'm going to add some more hidey holes too. I've got a couple hidey holes where they go in, and that kind of helps stop some bullying. But I think I'm going to add 2 or 3 more, and maybe even a tunnel here. I think would be fun. So on the other end of things, I've got an incubator set up, and today is hatch day. So we have a bunch of babies that have hatched. That's right. I've got 6, I believe, right now that have hatched, and a total of 16 eggs in here. I candled them on day 6 and found only 10 had development. So the likelihood is that I can get a max of 10 quail, so I'm gonna keep these guys in here to allow them to fluff up for probably another 12 to 16 hours. Once that's up, I might call it and see what's going on with the remaining eggs. But I think I can get a couple more hatch, definitely, maybe up to 10. And this is a Kibonics incubator. Keep it at 99.5, and the humidity should really be between 55 and 65% in the last 3 days of the hatch. But once they all start hatching out, that increases the humidity as their egg opens and as they start breathing. So it's fine for their humidity to reach even in the 70s during hatch day. It's not really a big deal. You just want a general range of 55 to 65 leading up to hatch, like in the final days before hatch. So that's these babies. I'm gonna move them to a brooder soon. Finally, I've got my 3-week-old baby quail that from my first successful hatch of 13 eggs, only 4 hatched. So these are my 4 that did hatch. They're pretty much fully feathered. They're running around, having a good time. The only sad thing is I did try to integrate them with the adults, and there was a little bit of bullying, so I removed them pretty quickly, but they got some scratches on their heads. So do not integrate quail that are 3 weeks old with adults. I thought they were big enough, but clearly they were not. Lesson learned, maybe wait till they're 5 or 6 weeks old. Probably just let them grow out so that they can integrate, or just do an integration method where you divide the enclosure up so that they can see each other but cannot attack each other. I'm kind of just stupid, so didn't do that. Lesson learned there. I'll be smarter about the next integration. But yeah, I'm feeding these guys, just free feeding food and water here. Just like a Purina 30% game bird starter food. But yeah, considering that the females and male all look the exact same, I got some pretty interesting colorations out of these guys. So they look pretty cool. I could technically remove the heat lamp at this point since they're fully feathered, but I'm planning on basically removing this heat lamp and moving it to a brooder box over here. This is going to be a small brooder for a few days while for these baby quail here. So these baby quail are going to get that heat lamp in that brooder box for a few days until they grow out a little bit. So I figured I'd give a little bit more of a spec on how I built this. So this is 2 feet tall. It's about 2.5 feet wide here and about 8 feet long, which comes out to like 20 square foot. And the guidance is that you really want a minimum of 1 square foot per bird. So you could technically put 20 in here. Maybe I'll max out 16, I don't know. On the long ends, I have a hardware cloth with open air just to block them from jumping out, but this is ventilation. And then this is like clear vinyl tablecloth that you can buy on Amazon, just so I can see in, but it's completely stapled to the sides. So yeah, nothing can get out. Hopefully it's pretty well insulated. Lining the interior of this whole thing is a blue tarp, like $15 from Home Depot. I stapled this blue tarp all along the skeleton, the frame of this coop, just to completely insulate it, and then I'm going to stack shavings up. Tomorrow I'm planning on getting like a few inches of shavings in here so that they have some deep bedding to start with. But yeah, it's tarp, and then some just basic doors, like I said, 4 by 2 foot. And you can just lift them and prop them up. And then to make it look less ugly, I grabbed 2 pieces of plywood I had laying around. This one's kind of heavily used and has, I don't know, dirt. I need to maybe paint this. And attached it to the frame so that it looks a little bit more presentable. Maybe one optimization I could make would be to trim down this clear vinyl tablecloth so that it's not as ugly. I don't know. It's kind of uggy right now, but yeah, the frame is just 2x4s that I cut up into varying lengths. So this whole long section here is an 8-foot 2x4 from Home Depot, like $3. This is 2 foot right here, and then there's about 3 inches here and 3 inches on that side, so that's 2.5 feet. Another 8-foot 2x4 on that other side, and then this whole thing's 2 feet tall. So there's a bunch of 2x4s that are about 2 feet tall that I screwed in here to create the height of this enclosure. So ideally, this will create less mess. There will be less vacuuming. I was having issues where the shavings were getting kicked out of the coop. Even with my best efforts to insulate my existing coop, it just was too messy, and then lots of dust in this office room here. So I've just got these 2 ventilation holes on the sides, and I could easily add like a filter or HEPA filter or something on the sides to push air and pull air a little bit more effectively. So yeah, I think this is going to be a lot more economical. I think the birds will like it more since they've got a ton more space, a lot more hidey holes. They just need to integrate their 2 flocks. This male, this white guy here, and then the brown ones are kind of his harem that he's been with previously. And then these 2 females right here were together, as well as this female right here. So there's definitely some bullying going on while these 2 flocks integrate. Especially these females that are with this male are very aggressive and have been just downright mean. But no blood's been drawn. I'm kind of keeping an eye on things. I think that I've integrated some flocks before, and it usually takes a couple days, and then they just kind of chill out and establish their pecking order. But you really have to keep an eye on things. because if blood gets drawn, you need to step in and stop them from killing each other. Quail are pretty vicious, so even with a large coop, it seems like they still can get pretty mean. So yeah, that's kind of the quail update. I've got this new big coop. I've got babies getting out of their eggs right here. And I've got hatch number 1, all 4 successful and healthy and grown up pretty big. Once these guys are 4 or 5 weeks old, I'm gonna try to integrate them again once they have some size on them. I'm also going to be able to tell their genders pretty soon. So I'll be able to tell how many males and females I have, hopefully more females than males. I think that is all. There's my doggy. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next hobby farm update.